can kind of just kind of chat with everybody here and just fill them in, just a quick intro on who you are, maybe where you're from, and kind of what you focus on in your tutoring business, kind of who that main student population is, and kind of what you work with students on. Why don't we start there and we'll kind of kick off this conversation here
Cool.
today.
Hello, everybody. I'm Maleeta Kitchen, owner of Counting Potential, where our motto is that we foster a love of math, one problem at a time. I hail from the great state of Maryland, so I've been here for 20 plus years, moved here right out of college, and so worked for one of the number one school districts in the state here and transitioned out of that role, out of that and kind of living on my own terms with the business, and so created something out of nothing, something out of nothing, something out of I'm going to tutor on the side to being a full-time CEO.
But just to kind of think back to the school system that you were in, Maleeta, what were you feeling at that time, just being in the school? I know a driver was definitely to kind of be able to be with your son and craft that. Can you just kind of explain a little bit kind of what you were experiencing there and maybe what was kind of pushing you to kind of make
I
that jump
think
as
it
well?
was so before I made the jump, made the leap. I was working as an interventionist, so working with students who were 1 to 2 years below grade level. Many times they did not qualify for special education services, so they were this huge learning gap, and so really being at a place where I knew what they needed. I knew what they needed, but it was just like the confines and the red tape of a school district. And so wanted
Mhm.
the opportunity for like the abundance of autonomy to teach them in the way that
Mm,
I knew that they needed without
yeah.
someone saying like 2 20-minute sessions a week is not going to fill in a gap. It's just not, and that's all you had. And so just my math heart, my teacher heart was like, these kids need more. I need to be able to do more and give more, like in terms of what I know to be good instruction and being in a place to do that. And so when you put that together with motherhood, it was almost a perfect storm to kind of say, do your own thing, because I was already tutoring on the side and seeing amazing results. So I knew what I had worked. I had enough experience to know like, I know how to do this. I know what works. I know all the secret ingredients to, create the perfect opportunity for students.
So
Yeah.
when you went full time in your business, because again, when you came to SOD, you were already running your
Yeah, we
business.
were well established. So what I was unsuccessful at, right? And I couldn't transition to groups. I couldn't transition to groups. We were well established in the community as this is the go-to company. Your kid is struggling in the math, you need to call Maleeta. You need to get
Mhm.
over here to see our people. So when I made the transition, we had 5 instructors. I had a VA and just could not figure out how do we transition to group, because we were
Yeah.
capacity pretty quickly. So most of our instructors are full-time, educators. And so a lot of times it would be, they are available maybe on Monday and Wednesday for 2 to 3 hours. And so when you start thinking about the structure and the scheduling, we were maxing out on our instructors rather quickly. And so I felt like I was growing more like this way with adding more instructors when really I wanted to grow this way. And so
Mm.
it was more so like, I need help. I don't know if the Stephanie that is here is the Stephanie that I know, but Stephanie actually told me about the program a while ago, and I just wasn't in the place yet. Emotionally, probably in a place, and just in a place to look at something else. I was trying different things, turning on my wheels, and it was just like, okay.
What was your experience kind of coming into SOD and what really started to kind of unlock, the
I
ability
would
to
definitely
kind of start
say
moving into that space?
Nigel, which is my coach, Nigel has been amazing because I think he gets me, because like I know some people in the program are like just starting out, like, had zero
Mhm.
students, and it was just like, I already have students, I already have staff. Like we are now up to there's 12 of us total. So it's just like I had a staff, I had some things in place. And so
Mhm.
Nigel, I think, was great at coaching me where I was as a business owner and realizing that a lot of a lot of things that we needed to do had to do with our systems. Like, I think I came into the program like late December around the holidays. And so, really, I was a little nervous, like, I don't know if this is really working. But understanding, like, as an established business, it took time to put the things in place to shift to groups. So we couldn't shift overnight because just the way that we had everything set up, like our students sign on for the rest of the school year. And so coming in January, you just can't shift to groups, mid school year like that. But looking at everything now, where we're kicking off with our summer session, our first session starts June 24th. We have some pre people starting next week, the second session. And so just looking at, what we needed to do to put in place, and then understanding that us shifting to groups, as much as I wanted it, we weren't ready for it. And that was the aha moment that I had talking with Nigel. Like, as much as I wanted groups, there was a lot of things that I needed to put in place, which the curriculum helped with, for us to be in a place to receive groups, because I didn't start with groups. And
Here,
invest in
wow.
yourself the same way that you would invest in your students, right? Like, as educators, we pour so much of you can do it, for our students. We are their biggest cheerleader. But I think in terms of having the life that you want to have, and like the flexibility and vacations and just not working on certain days of the week and being able to go someplace not on a holiday, like, you got to be your own cheerleader. You got to say that you can do this and believe that you can do this. And so that's the thing. Pour into yourself and your business the same way that you emotionally pour into your students.
Hmm. Couldn't have said it any better myself there, Maleeta. I'm curious because a lot of people, when they think about joining us, there's a big fixation around trying to get people's revenue up around that 10K mark. And I know that you've crossed that barrier, you hit that. And when I look at that, I know it was a big moment for me when I was like, oh my God, I hit my first 12K, 13K month. And it was like, this is mind-boggling. What
Mhm.
did that mean to you when you kind of crossed that threshold for the first time?
Um, we it was just like, oh, okay, like, okay, we can do this. I mean, because I think I thought about it in small increments, and I always look at it as the number of students. So when we were
Mhm.
at like 75K, like quarterly goals, my quarterly goal was like, okay, we're at 75K, I want to be at 9. Okay, how many students is that? How many new students do you need? And that was the other
Mhm.
thing too. When I broke it down to the number of students that I needed, it was very attainable. Like, could do 8 or 9 students. But that was the other thing with the program, understanding how leads work and getting it's the marketing and the advertising. Like, you can't get the students if you're not getting enough people interested in your program. Like, you gotta have people interested. You gotta be on calls. You gotta be talking to people. And so when you want to go to make that transition, visibility is key. And so that was the other thing, like how everything comes together to make you successful, and not only to get there, but to maintain.
What has that really unlocked for you just recently when it comes to like your relationship with your son and having time to go do different things? Like what's that looked like in terms of, putting the work in and then being able to kind of see that now you're thinking like a CEO and now you're thinking like, hey, I got to get that time back. Has that been something that's been unlocked
It
for you here
has
going
been
through the
like this
process?
past spring break was the first time that we actually went away for spring break. And it's not that we couldn't do it before for financial reasons. It was just the mental capacity of,
Mm,
working in a district. So we took a vacation during spring break. The other thing is that we got to the point that every Friday, most Fridays, I was able to volunteer at his school. And that's important to be present. I think the biggest thing in the beginning of the school year was seeing him off on the first day. I see him
yeah,
get on the bus every single day. I see him get off the bus every single day. I've been able to adjust my schedule so that we can do homework together, and I have enough energy to do homework. I'm not exhausted because adjusting my schedule, and that there's a gap in my schedule every day so that him and we can sit down and we can do homework together. And
I
so
love that.
that's the flexibility. That was the win, right there, to be able to, do those things, like have that flexibility, during the day, and be able to run the business, still have an income, but also be there for him.
Yeah. I think that's what we're all looking for, right? Is that time freedom, that financial freedom to be able to go do different things. And so I know that was me. Yeah. Anything else that you might want to share with
I think
people to kind of help them in their journey?
I think it's a worthwhile investment. I think part of the reason partly why I didn't join sooner was the investment, but the investment has been well worth it. Like I think the mindset like, oh, I can do this on my own. I can get this from YouTube University. No, you can't. You cannot. You cannot. Understanding like the whole CRM, with Tutor Boss and how that works and how you bring that into your business, like it is worth it. Take the leap. Like you have to have some type of support if you're going to take the leap.
It costing me when I don't make the choice? When it comes
Right.
to
Right.
just sitting where I'm at, we usually don't understand how much it's costing us from a mental standpoint. I'm miserable where I'm at. I'm irritated. I'm frustrated. And what that actually does to our body, then realizing, oh man,
Tired. Getting to school
yeah,
early, like you're getting to school a half an hour, 45 minutes before the students get there so that you can get stuff done. And then you're burning the candle on the other end. And then in the car driving home, you're getting ready to switch gears for your other job as a parent. And then if your kids they have sports, watch out. Cause now you're switching gears and just you're mentally tired and you just kind of keep going. It's very, very doable. So I challenge everybody out there to like take that moment and say that the 24-25 school year will be my last school year. Your business will be up and running before that, but that gives you time to get everything together that you need to get together because there's a bunch of logistics when you're leaving a school district, especially like if you're a veteran teacher, you're tenured, it's a couple things you want to get together, but go into it
yeah,
that, last year this is your last school year and use this summer like don't read the PD book, right? That you would do. Don't do the long range planning for the school year. Like take the time to like plan for your business. Take the 6 weeks to 8 weeks to plan for your business and set the stage. This is your last September, your last October, your last in November. This is it.
yeah. I love that, guys. And I think just piggybacking off that idea, I'm always telling clients, Maleeta, do the hard thing now so that life is easier later. You
Mm-hmm.
do the easy thing now, life will be harder later, where it's just like I'm in the same old, same old. I don't have control. I don't have creative ability, and freedom to do
You're
what I
not
want, teach
valued.
what I want.
Yeah, you're not
Yeah, it's just
valued
not worth it.
by it's not so much the parents, right? Because the parents, it depends on what kind of school you work for. It's very much not being valued by the district, not getting paid your worth, the working conditions, the lack of planning time. Like you're not going to get your worth unless you seize it. You got to seize the opportunity.
Any closing words here today before we sign off today?
No, like this is it. I can't wait to, meet someone and say, like I did it. I mean I left. It's so rewarding. It's so refreshing to say I don't work for them anymore. Like
Yeah.
it's so refreshing. Like you can do it. Like ask questions, get in a community. You can do it. Believe in yourself like you believe in your students.